Good morning, everyone. So it's your friendly but opinionated tarot card reader back for another read. So the table's a little crowded this morning because I have this beautiful bouquet. And that bouquet was brought to me last night from my love. It was our 15th year of being in each other's life. Pretty much inseparable since September 16th, 2010. So, anyways, yeah, beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. So, it's a little crowded, but it's a very feel-good. It feels very good, and I love it, and it's pretty, and so I'm not moving it because I want to be by it. It feels good to me. It's one of those life's pleasures, right? So I'm gonna move you down because I'm gonna probably have to move you back a little because I'm taking up about this much of my tiny table. This is a tiny table, so that the flowers aren't banged up against the wall. So let me move it back, and I'm gonna tip you down more. I just finally got around to reading the comments on the Charlie Kirk readings that I did. And the reason why I waited is because I didn't want anything influencing me. I was like, all right, if the universe is seeing fit that I'm busy and I'm not delving into this, and I'm just doing the reading from a clean slate, then I want to keep it as clean as I possibly can. And I didn't know if you folks would be giving me information or insight, or, letting me know what other people were saying or whatever. I didn't want any of that in my consciousness. So I waited. And if you got on today, which is the 17th, and saw the reading that uploaded this morning, then you'll see that I finished that yesterday, so I couldn't take out of my mind what more they might have to say. So being nosy, like I am, I wanted to know, and I didn't want to wait to know. So I went ahead and I did the reading. I switched things around and didn't do what I had told myself I was going to do yesterday, which was get my front door painted really quick in the morning before my day started rocking and rolling. And instead of doing that, I did the reading because I wanted to know what was going on. And I was very pleased to hear that women were going to wake up to their, to how they'd been deceived about many things. And that would, through this event, this huge event, many things are going to happen, and it's going to usher in that actual divine feminine energy that we're all meant to hold and balance within us, and that we've kind of lost because of, all of the bullshit they've bestowed upon us, right? So I was really happy to hear that. That made me very happy. So interestingly enough, because of the way the universe works and algorithms, interestingly enough, what came across my feed this morning when I was checking my notifications was this pastor who basically says women we're meant to just bear humans. So, I mean, he says it in such a cold fashion, he might as well be on the left. We're nothing but birthing people. And I'm sorry, my opinionated self thought to myself, wow, you're an asshole, huh? That's just me being honest. I don't care if he's a pastor. I don't care what he says he follows or who he says he has in his heart as a man of God. In my humble opinion, the dude's an asshole. And in my humble opinion, it's it's people like that and opinions like that and rulings like that and societies like that and lifestyles like that that made it so easy for women to be deceived to begin with. So I see him as part of the problem. I see him as part of the problem. What did he say? We're here to have children. We're here to run a household. We're here to serve and submit. Is his basic attitude. He doesn't think we should be voting. He would like to see voting be reduced to households where the men rule, and so then the men's vote would be what sealed the deal. Well, I can tell you something. There was a point in my life where the person that I love wasn't as awake as he is now. However, I have been for a very long time. And though that person that I love was waking up and kind of awake and awake to some things, that person was convinced that Obama would be a good president. And I absolutely was not. And not once did I ever vote for Obama as president. And although he was elected both times, and I think it was probably, I have always felt that people were placed. I still had the right to get out there and voice my opinion. Whether it counted for anything or not, I had that right, and I accessed that right. And he had the right to get out there and access his rights to voice that opinion. And I didn't try to cover him and tell him not to. And he didn't try to cover me and tell me not to. And that's called mutual respect. And that's actually where that balance comes in. That's where that balance comes in. Between that divine feminine and that divine masculine, where nobody's trying to cover the other and overpower and steal the power from another. But it's that kind of stuff that got us into trouble in the first place, because we as women, well, let me just say, women like me, strong-willed, strong-opinioned, strong women, know that men aren't better than me. And we know that, I know that though there may be some men that are much smarter than me, there are some men that are much more stupid than I am. And I know that I have qualities that, if I'm standing in my divine feminine, can truly help enhance a man that is truly standing in his divine masculine. And I know that he has qualities that can truly enhance me if I'm standing in my divine feminine. And I know that the two of us, when we come together, we blend the energies in a way that creates perfect balance and harmony. And I know that when one person, whether it be the man or the woman, is trying to be the dominant and cover the other and expect the other to just submit because that's just the way it is, that's where you have problems. And that's why women were so easily deceived, because for a long time women didn't have rights. They weren't allowed to vote, and they couldn't have their own bank account, and they didn't have a voice. And many women were in situations where they were abused and had no voice. And they weren't protected because they were considered the man's property. She was just a piece of property, like a pair of shoes or a vehicle. So, yeah, triggered much? Absolutely, I was triggered much. And then I had to step back and say, okay, Lorri, you know, you're opinionated and you're hot-tempered and you got a quick trigger. And you've been around enough men that consider themselves superior and have treated you poorly that emotionally you're probably even more triggered, right? And you've loved enough people that have been severely abused by overpowering men so that you're even more triggered, right? So I had to step back and breathe through it or whatever. And remember the reading that I got yesterday, that the divine feminine is coming in and women are going to wake up to the fact that they've been deceived. And I believe that also means that women that have stayed and maintained in abusive relationships where the man is stealing her power, she will wake up from that deception as well. Because she stays where she is, many, because they've been taught biblically that men are superior and that they really are here to be submissive, and they've taken it on in such a way that they'll even accept abuse. So I believe those women will wake up to the deceptions, and I believe the women, as we talked about yesterday, that have been deceived into believing that they don't need a man and all of that, and that women can do anything a man can do, only better. All of that deception is going to fade to the wayside too. The divine feminine just doesn't have room for that type of BS and ego, right? So I trust that as women wake up, both sides of this deception will fade away and women will start really standing in their true feminine power. And I also trust that if that's coming in, real men will stand in their divine masculine power. And I absolutely believe there are times that women can submit to their man. It's those soft moments of feeling safe that allow us to do that, right? So I realize that I have qualities that Eddie doesn't have, and he has qualities that I don't have. And when I ask for his advice or his insight or his direction, because he has more experience and he knows how to do things that I don't know how to do, he has an understanding of certain things, in a way that's submitting, right? That's me coming to him feeling safe, saying, hey, you're better at this than I am, or you know more about this than I do, so can you help me? And, because I'm not so egotistical that I think I need to be better than him at all times, or that I need to know everything that he knows, or that I need to outdo him in any way. And there are times that I know that my expertise, my experience can help him. That's a true partnership, that's balance, and that's really what we need to come into, not this power dynamic. So I wasn't real impressed this morning listening to that shit. Because that actually shits all over women and men, because it doesn't put men in their divine masculine, because a divine masculine would never want to steal the power of their woman. What they would want to do is embrace their woman and let their woman feel that they're safe enough with them to be vulnerable, which is a form of submission, right? They wouldn't want to take her power and force her into submission or make her feel as though she's less than so that she does submit. They would want to embrace her and love her and create an atmosphere of safety so that she knows that she's safe being vulnerable with him, and in that way can be submissive when it serves them both. And I just think to myself, and this is the darkness rising up trying to cover the light again. This is once again the darkness trying to cover the light and the natural ebb and flow of things that make men and women come together in perfect balance. They're trying to invert it again. It's about a power dynamic and stealing power rather than love, admiration, mutual respect, safety, connectedness, a sacred bond. It becomes about power. And sorry, dude, God has nothing to do with that. That's not godly. That's not being a godly man. That's not holding God in your heart. God created us the way that we're created for enhancement, not power struggles. So I see that as part of the problem. So there's your loudmouthed, opinionated, female tarot reader who has always considered herself blessed to have been born in the United States, in a free country, not tossed into the Middle East somewhere where I am allowed to have these opinions, these thoughts, use my voice, not be dominated by anyone, not feel as if I have to take on and hold abuse because it's a man that claims to love me that's doing it. My father was a real man. He was born in the 30s. My mother was a real woman. She also was born in the 30s. They're just 2 weeks apart, their birthdays. And they were really good at doing this dance, you know. So my mother listened to my father when it counted and when it was needed, and he was definitely the man of the house, and we knew it. But we also knew that my mother was the queen of that castle, and that my father would hold her up on that throne, and nobody was going to come in and disrespect my mother, ever, ever, ever. Nobody. And he also was smart enough as the king of his castle and the king of his family to know that he had an intelligent woman who was very intuitive. And he listened to her. And respected her intelligence and respected her emotion, her emotional states of being. He respected and trusted her intuition, and he allowed her guidance. And not only allowed it, but he expected her guidance and was grateful for it. And she respected and expected my dad's guidance and was respectful and grateful. So I'm always just shocked at the ignorance that spews out of people's mouths while they stand there thinking that they're absolutely right and just in their ignorant thought processes. It's crazy. Did my mother serve my father? Absolutely. She cooked and she cleaned, and she liked to fix his plate and give it to him. It was a nicety that she did because she loved him. And you know, my father always looked grateful when she did that. It wasn't ignored. It wasn't disregarded. It wasn't expected. You could tell it was always this little gift. And she would do the coffee thing too, always bring him his coffee. And he always said, "Thank you, Nancy." You know? And every night after dinner, he always said, "Thank you, Nancy. That was delicious. Thank you." He would come home and she would be canning up a storm, and he would say, "Thank you, Nancy, for doing this." And she would thank him. "Thank you, Lee, for doing that. Thank you." You know, it's mutual respect. It's a dance that you do. It's not supposed to be a power struggle. My parents were very passionate. They loved each other passionately. So they loved passionately and they fought passionately. But because of that mutual respect and love and admiration and acceptance of one another, they could fight passionately and always work it out, always work through it, because one didn't think they were better than the other. So anyways, there's my rant, you guys. Again, another long blah, 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 Lorri running her mouth. But wow, talk about a time when, the universe says we're going to bring in some balance. The deception is going to be viewed. It's going to be seen. Women are going to wake up. The darkness sends some asshole to the forefront to try to cover that any way they can by talking to men's egos. And trying to build societies where once again women are dominated, put down, and put under. And that's what we're seeing with the transgender agenda. The men who can pretend to be women and overpower us in sports, in our bathrooms, in society. This is what we're seeing. We're constantly seeing the darkness try to come up and cover the divine feminine that's working to come back in. And I see this guy who calls himself a man of God to be one of those dark entities doing that. That's my humble opinion. Just saying. So today it's September 17th, 2025, and the day is Wednesday. And let me get a sip of my coffee. And I know that I told my guides that I would look at the jabs and the autism and the story that they want to tell around that, and I'm going to. And I've talked to them this morning and told them that this guy really got me. Like, I was insta-pissed. My ego was triggered. My emotions were triggered. And so I had to step back and I had to breathe through it. But I also had a long conversation there saying, this was shown to me for a reason, whether it's algorithms or not. The fact is, because of the video that I put up yesterday, the algorithms could have picked up on what I was saying and then wanted to show me the polar opposite. But I believe that the universe and my creator and my spiritual team and my highest self all work with the tools that they have to work with as well, which are nowadays it is the algorithms, right? And back in the day, it was the radio, what you might hear just off the wall, or the news or the newspaper. Spirit is talking to us all the time through the butterflies, the bees, all sorts of ways. We just have to watch, listen, and pay attention. And when we're triggered, we need to kind of center ourselves. I guess we don't need to. I hate that I say that. That's just such a common way of speaking. We don't need to do anything, but there are things that can benefit us if we're conscious. So it benefits me to step back and breathe and say, this is yet again another manipulation of someone to create a blanketing of the light that's coming through. But you can't blanket it. And so the light's going to be shown on this people. And will some people jump on the bandwagon and follow? Yes. Some people will. And that will allow us to see those people for what they are. So it shines a light on them. Because you can't cover up the light. But the light can chase out the dark. And the light just shines on things. So good luck trying to take us back into the dark ages. Not when we're coming into a full-on awakening where women are going to learn how they've been deceived in all ways, where the feminine energy is going to come back in, where nurture and love is going to enter people's hearts again, where old-fashioned family values are going to come back in. when I say that, that meaning we're going to begin caring for our elderly in ways that were just custom and then lost. And I think they were lost, honestly, you guys, because they pushed society into a place where both people in the household had to work to survive. And then they pushed breaking up the family. So a single man or a single woman can't properly take care of their aging elderly parent who can't be left alone if they're at work 12 hours a day and they've got a 2-hour commute in between, and so they're gone 14 hours. They can't properly care for their parents. But I believe as times change and things become different, what we saw there with those old-fashioned family values, where our elderly are revered again and cared for and held up where they should be for their wisdom and their knowledge and their hierarchy in the family. That's gonna re-enter. That's gonna enter back in. And that's not to say that you need to take care of a parent that raped you and abused you. But the value system of people who had parents, yes, less than perfect, because we're not perfect, but that were provided for them and loved them and did the best that they could with the tools that they had, will be seen for that. And they'll be seen for their wisdom and their knowledge and their contribution to the family. And they'll be more of a protective nature of wanting to maybe bring them into their home and care for them, rather than having to put them in a nursing home because they don't have the means or the time to care for them. So there I go. My rant went on longer, even longer this time. Sorry, you guys. But so I want to look at this because I trust the universe, and I've felt it come in for a long time that there will be a shift with women, especially the divine feminine, and because women have been very deceived, and we are the child bearers, and we are the nurturers, and we are the creators, and we are the homemakers. Those are natural God-given gifts. Our bodies do amazing things so that we can not only carry this life, but birth this life and feed this life. We connect, we bond with that baby so that we know that baby doesn't have to talk to us for us to know that their ear hurts or that their belly hurts. There's something there with a woman and a child. And that's all God-given. And there's also something there when we're in a relationship where we can trust and feel safe with our man, where I know if Eddie's hurting. I know if he's in trouble. I can feel it in my heart. Once I feel it, often I'll see it. I'll see visions, or I'll just have a clear knowing. But these are God-given gifts that really are enhanced through a nurturing space and can grow stronger and stronger through a nurturing space. And we're pretty remarkable. We're not just birthing people. And men are pretty damn remarkable too. And, they're not just workhorses to bring home the bacon and beat the crap out of somebody that's threatening you, or, stand up and raise his voice so the kids finally pipe down. There's more to both of us than that. There's more to men and women. And men are incredibly intuitive, because my boyfriend and I have this, he feels safe with me too. I'm his safe space. And because he's embraced that, his intuition grows stronger daily. You know what I mean? So there's a feminine and a masculine energy within each of us meant to be balanced, enhanced, and seen for what it is, and developed for what they are. And when you come together as a woman or a man with the divine opposite of you, you create a balance together. But that safety within that relationship also helps you create that balance within yourself. If that's making sense to you guys, I hope it is. So I believe that there are dark energies, pushing the transgender agenda, trying to cover the women to stop the divine feminine and to put us back in our place of not mattering, right? Being less than a man, and being dominated by men. Because these guys that are doing this shit are men pretending to be women. They're not true transgenders, right? If they were a true transgender, they would want to blend in. They wouldn't want to just look like a guy, claim to be a woman, and walk into our spaces and dominate us. That's narcissistic. That's a dark energy. That's men trying to dominate women and seeing this new agenda as a way that they can do it. That's a dark agenda. And so it's the same when you have a man of God out there really trying to create a revival of a way that things were done in what I'm going to call the Dark Ages, which created a situation with women that allowed women to be incredibly deceived by the women's liberation, which women needed some liberation because of the way things had been for many of them, and the fact that we didn't have rights, we couldn't even have our own bank account, for goodness sakes. You could be a prostitute, a teacher, a nurse. What the hell else were you going to be back in those days if you didn't have a man? Women needed a man for protection, security, to survive, and you had very few options if you didn't have a man. So we don't want to go back to the Dark Ages, right? I would not want to see that from my great nieces, or their children. But you have these men that claim that they're of God actually pushing for that type of agenda, as you have the left pushing for the agenda of the men dressed in women's clothing to dominate us. And so women are getting hit left and right now, because they're really trying to stop that divine feminine energy from rising up within all of us, and from women waking up to all of the deception. I believe. That's my humble opinion. So let's get started. I'm going to do a reading now that I've babbled about this and I've made my opinions clear around this. I want to see what the universe says as far as the divine feminine goes, and this domination that continues to try to come in and cover the divine feminine from actually being able to shine in all of its glory. And the fact is, when women are in their feminine, their divine feminine, and it's safe for them to be there, we help men be in their divine masculine, right? So you're not going to have men putting on lipstick and skirts pretending to be girls, and you're not going to have all of this confusion. You're going to have that divine masculine energy being enhanced by the divine feminine energy. And this is not conducive to a left-wing agenda. And it's not conducive to a dark agenda. So they're going to do everything they can to trample that down and trample it out. So don't follow any links or emails in the comment section of the channel. That would be scammers. Don't fall victim to scammers. Also, always know that the healing intentions is set for you folks. Always, always, always. So if you so choose and you want that, stand in your power, decree it for your highest and greatest good. Only and always breathe and just allow all of those wonderful universal healing energies to integrate the body for as long as you want. So, yes, and also, um, like I said, I finally got around to reading all of the comments from yesterday's reading and the day before. And Susie Q, yeah, you can't see the darn cards, and I'm so sorry. And that's the thing about this being a home production, right? Like a lot of people that are doing these types of things, their podcasts and other tarot readers and whatnot, they've made it they've made it their job to come on to YouTube or Rumble or whatever and do that. And so they've set themselves up professionally, um, with overhead cameras and decent microphones and, um, decent lighting and all of those things that you're not going to get here. I'm so sorry. But, this for me is my little home production. It's my free service. Um, it's what I do for work. It's a piece of what I do for work that I give for free here as part of the way that I give back. It's like back in the day, there's a fair that we have in Maine. It's called the Common Ground Fair. And I used to volunteer at the Reiki tent. So for some years, I volunteered at the Reiki tent, and I gave of myself freely. The Reiki that I do for work, I gave of that freely for 3 days, just all day long, banging it out, one after the other, after the other, after the other, for the length of the fair day. And so that was a free service that I provide, something that I do for work that I provided for free as a means of giving back. Because it feels good to me to give back. That's why. And then for a while, I was one of the coordinators of that whole section, the whole life section in the Reiki tent. And my way of giving back wasn't necessarily banging out healings all day long for 3 days, but helping to coordinate an event where people could go and receive a lot of different things through that whole life center and the Reiki tent. After they'd paid, they had to pay to get into the fair, but then our services were provided for free and for fun, and so that was a way of giving back. So when 2020 came in, that fair was canceled, and I started, not that one had anything to do with the other, because I started doing the readings online before the fair was canceled, because it's a fall-time fair. It's actually it should be running this weekend, I think, the third weekend in September every year. So, but in 2020, I picked up my cards and started doing a reading on Facebook for people, just because people were scared and they were suffering. And I wanted to share. I wasn't scared because of my faith and my beliefs. So I wanted to be able to share some of that and healing to help bring in calm and peace with people. So I started doing that on Facebook. And the whole intention was the biggest piece of it was the healing, and also just for me to share something that that I'm passionate about and I love, that I have skill in, and share my work as a way of giving to people at a time of need. And it's just stayed. I didn't stop after the COVID stuff. It's just stayed. So this is just a way of my giving back, and I'm not set up professionally, and I know it sucks. I'm sure my voice comes in and out. It probably sounds staticky. The lighting is horrible. Depending on how I'm doing it, if I'm in my pajamas and flannel shirt like I am this morning, you don't see me because, I'm in my pajamas and I don't want to have to get dressed just yet. And so the layout is this way, and then I sometimes come on, and I know it's always ever changing and whatnot. So thank you all for bearing with me. I hope that you gain something from being here that's positive. And I don't know, I'll try to figure something out. Yeah, I assumed that if I was saying the cards and I have them laid in a way where you can see the card layout, that that would be enough. But you know what? I do remember there was a time when I would pick the cards up and do this so that you can see it, and I apparently got lazy. So I think I'm going to try doing that again so that as I talk about each particular card, you can see it at least. But yes, please do excuse my home production. Like I said, I hope that in spite of all of the flaws that there comes with a home production, that you're still gaining or receiving something of value that feels good to you, that brings you something positive. I hope. That's the intention. So you guys, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be another long one because I've rambled on here for 40 minutes. But you know, you guys help me a lot because even though you're not sitting at my table, I said that this morning actually when I was reading all of your comments from the last 2 days. Even though you guys aren't all here with me physically, I feel your energy. Those of you that interact with me, I feel your energy, and I feel like you're sitting here with me. And when I go on and on and on, I feel like I'm working through things with you. And so I receive a lot. You know, I set this channel up to, because I wanted to give something back. But what I have received in doing that is immeasurable. I feel you. I feel you people that comment and that talk with me and engage with me. I feel your energy. I feel as though I'm working through things with you. You guys all show me on a regular basis that as disgusted as I get with humanity, not all of humanity sucks. You help me hold on to the belief that there are more good than bad. You pray for me when I'm struggling. Like, when you pray for my family, you cover us in love. What I receive back from this channel is immeasurable. I never thought that it would become so intimate, but it is, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate every single one of you. And that's why I say, Susie Q, I am going to try to remember to lift those cards every time so that you can see them. And if I don't, just say to me, you did pretty good through half the reading, Lori, but then you stopped lifting them through the other half, or yesterday was really good, but today you forgot, or whatever. Keep reminding me, because repetition will help me to remember. So I'll try to remember to do that for you. I don't know why I got out of the habit of doing it. I probably stopped doing it just because of me sitting here the way I'm looking at it, reading it to you, not messing it up, because I'm anal, you guys. And I am. I'm anal in so many ways. And one of those things is not making a little mess of my little pile of cards. So I'll try to work through that OCD stuff and remember to hold the card up for you guys. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, with one card, I want to see, because we need that divine masculine, right? We need that divine masculine. And let's just see where that divine masculine is on the pathway. Not the domineering masculine, not that kind of crap, but the divine masculine, the true divine masculine. So let's see a pathway there for the divine masculine. And then we're going to look for a pathway for the divine feminine. And then I'm going to get a story around... well, first, just let me get the pathway for the divine masculine. And you know what? I have picked my Deviant Moon deck today. What I do is I read, for all of you people reading, learning to read, our seasoned readers. For me, I just energetically know what deck is the one that will go with the flow of what I'm reading on. And for quite a long time, I haven't used these when it comes to the readings here online. And it's because I just haven't felt as though there's a match to the, they don't match the energy, as well as the rider deck. Whoops, there goes my selenite, as well as the rider deck. But today, because we are talking about this dark energy, trying to cover that light energy of the divine feminine coming in, I think this is the perfect deck. I think this deck will do us really well as far as getting some good reads on the manipulation campaign on the dark side to try to blanket the light. And so anyway, I've kept you guys on here a long time. I'm sorry. It's like a little visit rather than a tarot reading, right? All right, so let's get a pathway for the divine masculine, please and thank you. So a pathway only is what I'm going to do, just for that divine masculine. So I'm going to start the energy that leads the pathway is the world, you guys. So that's the very beginning. That's the energy that is driving our pathway for the divine masculine, the world. So the divine masculine is waking up the world over. And that's joyful, you guys, because with the world, not only does it mean the world, the whole world, but it means all of the elements, all of the energies of the world working together to help wake up the divine masculine. And that is 21 in the higher arcana cards, 10 plus 10 plus 1, right? 21. And 2 plus 1 breaks down to 3, a joyful occasion. So, oh wow. Look at this. Okay, so the divine masculine, let's be joyful, everybody. Let me move this down so that you can at least see the lineup, right? And I will pick the cards up, okay? So I already showed you the world, the higher arcana. That's big picture, you guys. So the world is waking up. The divine masculine, the world is waking up. Be joyful, rejoice. You know, that means everything within the world is working together to help this happen. So our beautiful planet Earth, our trees, our flowers, our butterflies, our dragonflies, our squirrels, elephants, just people, the vibration, all of the different levels here upon the earth that aren't below us, right? Rejoicing and helping lift the vibration. Our creator, our spiritual teams, our highest selves, which know that this is important for humanity's sake and family's sake and the planet's sake, that the divine masculine come to life. And so it's joyful. Everything is working together in unison to joyfully wake up the divine masculine. And they're literally, like, all the energies burning the candles at both ends for this event. And it's joyful, you guys. It's a joyful thing. It touches upon our solar plexus, where our identities are. It touches upon our root chakra and our sacral chakra, opening those things up where we feel courage, safety, vitality, where we are creative, where we have a good sense of identity, right? All of these things are important for somebody to stand in their divine energy. And so there's a wake up of all of that going on. This is a joyful time. This is a joyful time. The divine masculine is also coming back in, right? And so That's what's driving this reading. So what happens? What happens in the time of a worldwide awakening of an energy that's been put to bed and laying dormant for so long? Because you guys, let's face it, the divine feminine has been absent, but so has the divine masculine. Because as I said, the divine masculine doesn't want to overpower his divine feminine. He wants to hold her up, keep her safe, so that she can allow herself to be vulnerable and soft with him, right? And so the divine masculine has also been missing. And that's a real problem, right? We need that divine masculine. So the next card up, we've got this wonderful energy that's driving that divine masculine, and the next card up from it in our pathway, let me pull back just a little bit so that it's not blurring. It's hard for me because I need new glasses, so I think that might be clearer. But that is the 6, right? So 6 looks like a pregnant woman, so that's birthing something new to the positive, not inverted, but to the positive. It's birthing something new. It's divine love, because through divine love, we were all birthed. We were all created, right? So it's divine love, and it's birthing something new. So in this deck, that 6 is you're on the world stage and you're looking up and you're literally seeing the dark versus the light. Okay? And they're battling one another. And oh, it just looks like fun, right? It just looks like a puppet show. It just looks like it's a stage. But it's real. It's reality. And that is much of what we're going through right now, right? So, the world is a stage. That is for damn sure. But we have a lot of people that will be... Okay, so like, here's a for instance. When Taylor Swift puts on a concert and she's dressed like a demon, and I say something to somebody about that, they might reply, oh, come on, Lorri. It's just a show. She only dressed like that to, like, there's nothing meant by it. So it's the same thing in this card, that right now we're in a pivotal moment where we are birthing something new. The light is kind of battling the dark, but many people still stand back with these brainwashed eyes. I don't know if you can see, let me get in close. Their eyes literally look like they're, in that trance, like they do with the cartoons, where the eyes get the little rings and they're in a trance. They're all standing back watching this in a trance. And some of them will be brainwashed into believing what the dark has to say. And some people will be put in a trance over what the light has to say. And the key with this card is to step back from what's on the world stage, and rather than observing with eyes, it's about divine love. So it's about connecting the heart to the third eye and the mind, so that you're not having to depend on the world stage and people out there playing different parts, but you're able to discern things through your own clear knowing and your heart center. So the world is working to bring back in the divine feminine, and we're seeing that many people are still in that state of not really, the divine masculine, sorry. And we're seeing that many people are still in that state of not being able to step back and view things clearly. They're still under the spell of either the light or the dark without really being able to pull back and discern either. Does that make sense? So that's where we're at right now. That's the middle energy, okay? That's where we're at right now. But the pathway does eventually lead to the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is a fair man. He is a very powerful man. He is a very dominant, strong, man who knows how to be manly and makes no apologies for it. But he's very fair, and he is actually very much in touch with his divinity. So he's able to stand and be very strong here on the earth plane in a way that's very fair, kind, and loving. So that is the outcome. So the divine masculine is very much being enhanced. And because the divine masculine is very much being enhanced, of course the devil wants to come in and maintain toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is not what they say. They try to make it sound like every man that would throw a punch or fight or die or kill for his family, his loved ones, or that which is weaker than him. They try to make it sound as though a man that won't take bullshit, that stands with his shoulders back and his chin out, at a stance of, I'm not going to start shit, but I will finish it. They try to make that sound as though that's toxic. That's not toxic. It's only toxic if you're out there looking for shit to fight about all the time. It's toxic if you're using that strength and that power to beat your children and your women. It's toxic if you're using that strength and that power to overpower what is weaker than you or vulnerable to you. It's toxic if you get off on that, if that makes you feel as though your power is building as you're stealing another's power. That's toxic. It's not toxic to be a man with testosterone and be ready, willing, and able to fight. But they try to make it sound like it is because they want to feminize men, right? They're trying to invert everything sacred. So divine masculine is very sacred, and they're trying to invert that and feminize men, okay? So there's nothing toxic about that. There's a huge difference between being in your strength and your power and being toxic where you're out there just looking for it. You're out there banging women, screwing people's wives, beating up on everybody weaker than you, looking for the biggest guy so that you can feel big and see if you can take him down at the bar. There's a huge difference. And they've really skewered that. The darkness has deceived the men a lot too, you guys. And so that is going on right now, and it's very much on the world stage, and you're very much seeing it. So you're seeing the men that have been deceived into saying, oh, all you got to do is feel like a woman, and poof, you're a woman. And the men that have been deceived into hating themselves because they think it's toxic to be masculine and that they need to be gentle all the time. They wouldn't have that much testosterone given to them by God if they were meant to always be gentle, okay? So you see this playing out on the world stage, and this is where we're at right now. And because the light is right there, it's shining a light on this darkness. And that's why we're seeing so much of this inversion, and let's hate the toxic male, and let's hate the conservative, and let's tear apart the nuclear family, and let's trick men into thinking that they need to overpower women somehow, whether it's by pretending to be them and invading their space, or by telling them that they're superior to a woman. That's what we're seeing. So the light's shining on the dark. But at the top, the dark doesn't get to win, you guys. So because the divine masculine wants to be able to stand in his power too. I mean, he's been covered with a dark energy as well. Women have been covered with this dark energy and this deceit, and so have men. So thank you so much for giving us the pathway to the divine masculine. Now I would like to see, please and thank you, the pathway to the divine feminine. Please and thank you. Can you give me the pathway to the divine feminine? You said the women were waking up. The divine feminine's coming back in. And we're seeing that darkness trying to cover that from happening as well by tricking the divine masculine and the feminine into agreeing that we should be dominated by men, no matter who they are, whether they're guys acting like guys or guys pretending to be girls. We're just, we're being bombarded with this move out of the way, ladies. You're not as important as the guys. So can you give me a pathway? Show me the path to the divine feminine and how that's coming back in now. Please and thank you. The back breaking. It's a fast energy. Oh, wow. All right. So, let me move them closer, you guys. And I'm going to pick them up and talk about it. So the divine feminine, show me about that. Show me. The energy that is driving our divine pathway for the divine feminine is the 10. All right. So in this deck, can you see it's the 10 of rods? So that's the day-to-day, right? So an ending is actually what's ushering in the divine feminine. So with the 10 of rods, your day-to-day journey has been backbreaking and it doesn't work. It's just not working. And so it has to end. And if you think about a woman's life and the energies around women throughout, I can see where it wouldn't work. I'm going to go on a little bit. I appreciate you guys letting me share my thoughts. So like I was saying, you go back in the day where women were, if you were lucky, you had a good man who did not treat you bad. But women were very oppressed back in the day. They didn't have the right to just pick a career or do whatever they wanted, whatever they wanted for work. If they didn't have a man, they had very few choices, right? And if they were lucky, they had good men, but they weren't allowed to vote. There was a lot that women couldn't do to contribute to society. And women are quite a contribution to society because we are different than men. And so we can bring a different perspective. And men and women are very different. Like men are generally logically driven and women are generally emotionally driven. And so when we come together, we can bring these two perspectives. And when we're working well with one another, we can really create some wonderful ideas, So God forbid if men and women are working well together. They've really wanted to stop that. So back in those days, women didn't really have rights, and that posed a lot of problems. And then, things shifted and in came women's lib, and women's liberation was very important because women did need to be liberated. If you don't have a husband, you need more than 3 choices to choose for a living. And if you did have a husband, you needed to be thought of as a human and not property. And, there were problems that needed to be fixed. So they put this at the forefront, and then they had these talking heads that talked women into believing a bunch of horse shit, which drove women into a toxic masculine state, if you want my humble opinion. So then all of a sudden women think they're better than men, they become intolerant of men, and then men, because they were already being programmed to be toxic, you are better than women and blah, 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 became resentful of women going into their workplaces, and it just caused all these problems. It's so convoluted. These assholes that have been steering the population towards their own demise had a very well thought out plan. They're very manipulative. They know how to grab someone right by the boo-boo, make it sound as if they're going to put a, you know, put some big medical treatment on that's going to make that boo-boo go right away and they'll be all the better for it. When in fact, what they're doing is they're putting poison on the boo-boo, covering it and letting it soak in. It's crazy. But women's liberation became, in my humble opinion, toxic for women. And women talk down to men. Not that women should not say their piece, but geez, we could be respectful. I've seen women out in public speaking to their men in ways that it's embarrassing to me, because if you love somebody, that's not how you speak to them. And I'm not saying I have always been perfect. I've been an asshole too. But I'm saying women have been very toxic because they've been tricked into it. It was easy to trick them because they'd been oppressed. You know what I'm saying? So it was very easy to pit these energies against each other and create the division. And that's what happened. And so women were oppressed, and then women were pushed into this. You can do anything you want. You can be anything you want. You can be better than any guy, and you don't need a man. And oh, by the way, now that you don't believe you're a piece of property, we're going to somehow trick you into believing that your baby, your unborn baby, is just a piece of property that you can discard and murder and kill if you want to. So it's been a mess, you guys. It's been a mess for a very, very, very long time. It's a backbreaker. It doesn't work. It hasn't been good for us, and it's ended. It's ended. And so with energy and manifesting, we have the thought, we create the idea in our mind, we see it, we speak it, and then we start moving in an action to get there. And all of those energies come together. They go out into the universe. They hit the consciousness. They build. And then they circle back to us. Okay? And then we can be able to receive what we've begun to manifest. And the better we get at manifesting and bringing up our vibrational alignment to match what it is that we're manifesting, the quicker we can manifest and bring it back into us. Does that make sense? So right now, the energy that's driving this divine feminine being ushered back in, is that energy is already dead. The energy's dead. It didn't work. That cycle has ended. It's already ended. It's already ended. And that's what's pushing our pathway forward. And so what do we have right above us as we've already ended this? And that energy is going out to bring us something else. We have the Knight of Swords. Now, of course, you guys know that with the Knight of Swords, for me, that's my good military, that's my white hat, that's my alliance card. Now, in terms of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, let's take the white hat agenda out of the picture, although the white hat agenda, I do believe, is what is pushing back against the black hat agenda, which is the evil agenda, is the dark and the light on the world stage, pushing these narratives, all of these narratives, right? So it's relevant. But in terms of energy, the Knight of Swords is driven by air, and he's a soldier, and he is like completely guarded up. So he's protected in his armor, but he flies like lightning. He flies like it's a very, very, very fast moving energy. His horse is as speedy and powerful as can be. And his sword, like I said, is driven by air. So if you're looking at this in terms of energy, you guys, this is a fast moving energy that's out there. It's out there now because the old energy has died, right? So with the Knight of Swords in my Deviant Moon deck, he's on his horse, and he's all suited up, and he has on his little skirt, right? Tied around his waist, his root chakra, and it's red and it's gold. So it's red, it resonates with that root chakra, vitality, passion, courage, safety. It resonates with that solar plexus and that sacral plexus, sacral chakra, where you have that creativity, where you have a sense of identity. So the energy that's swirling right now to help bring in this divine feminine is that of vitality, passion, courage, strength. It's of women learning their identity, learning their worth. And it's a fast moving energy, and it's going to go out there and come back to us in a whirlwind because it's a fast moving energy. But the Knight of Swords, as the soldier, has to speak the right words to get the thoughts and the words and the ideas out there. So there are people demonstrating what that divine feminine means for those that have been so disconnected from it, right? So apparently there's a lot of people on the world stage helping people find their divine feminine. There's a huge energy out there to move it back in towards us. And at the very top, what do we have? Well, we have that Queen of Pentacles. So that's the Queen to the King, the Queen and the King, the divine masculine, the divine feminine. And she is the divine feminine here. She's nurturing those children. She's very intuitive with that moon. She knows how to stand in her power. She knows how to use her abundance, to create safety, satisfaction, take care of needs met. She's a shining light. She feels safe. She feels secure. She's very nurturing. And, she's very in touch. She's very in tune. She is the feminine. And that is coming in. So we have both that divine feminine and that divine masculine. And again, we were told that the women would wake up to their divine feminine. And you see here, she's surrounded with kids, because the divine feminine is the child bearer. She is the nurturer. She is the mama. And that's not saying anything against any women that couldn't have children or chose not to have children, who didn't adopt or didn't have an influence somehow. Usually women, even if you don't have kids, like you've got nieces or nephews, if you don't have that, your best friend has kids, or, you're around them somehow, playing some sort of an influence, usually. I mean, I had one of my bosses, she was awesome. I loved working with her. She and her husband didn't have children, and it's not because she didn't like kids and didn't want them and didn't have time for them, because her career was so important. Her choice to not have kids came from the fact that she and her husband were both so busy with work to create the money, to pay the bills, to survive, that she felt it would be selfish to bring a child in that she couldn't devote her full time and energy to. And we were living in a time where it very much took both people out in the world creating abundance to pay the bills and keep food on the table. So her choice not to have them wasn't because she thought she didn't want to be a mom, because that would get in the way of her career. It was because she felt like her career would get in the way of her children, and that wouldn't be fair. So, but this divine nurturing is coming back in, and that's good to hear, because no, I don't think that's all we're meant to be doing, is spitting out kids, because I think having children is a privilege. And I think when you have children, you should see them as a blessing. And you should really want to be dedicated to those kids, or you shouldn't have them. So it's not that I think women should be spitting out kids left and right, but if society, if humans are going to continue on, we do need to have families. And they have talked people into not wanting to have families and not wanting to have kids. So in that way, in itself, it's population control. Just by talking people into believing that they don't want children and they don't want families and they don't want to come together in union with somebody and create a family. But that's all coming back in because this old way is dead. And the energy moving it in is a quick moving energy. It's very fast. So I would say with this quick moving energy, women are about to wake up. And once they wake up, they'll be ignited, right? They'll be ignited. And with the divine masculine coming into who he is, that will create an atmosphere and a society where people are feeling safe to be in that energy. And I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight, clearly. But this is the path and the direction that we're on. So that's exciting. So with that, I'm not going to make you guys stay on for too long, but I'll just do a quick 7-card spread. If the universe could just give me their story in only a 7-card spread about these dark energies, these pastors that are promoting to actually diminish a woman's right, these political agendas that are promoting men to pretend that they're women to dominate women, and all of these things that women are facing right now, trying to blanket out the divine feminine, and the confusion that's being created within men to invert that the divine masculine, and to also put a blanket and a covering on that. The agendas to stop men and women from fully becoming what our Creator intended us to be, which is that divine masculine and that divine feminine. Can you show me? Because to me, the man of God promoting the restriction of women's rights, to me, in my humble opinion, is no different than the guy dressed as the devil telling the transgender agenda to come into women's bathrooms and blow us away if we don't want them there. I mean, it's the same person, just in different clothing, right? So they always say, beware the wolf in sheep's clothing. Well, the wolf can wear many different clothes. And that's what I want a reading on. I want to see in a 7-card spread the dark side and their agenda and the story around it and their pathway. Their pathway, which would explain their success level in the agenda that they're pushing and they're on. Please and thank you. Because to me, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's dark. So one more shuffle and we'll get a story, and then I'll get off here. I appreciate you guys bearing with me and all of my talking and babbling and rambling and opinions. All right. The divine feminine. The white hats. The path. Moving forward. Getting these up here. And then I'll pick them up and I'll show them to you. We got birthing new. All right. This is really good. Okay, so there is that that battle of duality that's going on right now, okay? And what they're showing me is that's all it is. So the energy that's driving the pathway. Let me get some coffee, you guys. The energy that is driving the pathway is the 2. And that's the battle, the duality. Okay? The battle of the dark and the light. The duality, blending the 2, learning how to balance energy. And that's all it is. That's all it is a battle. It's not going anywhere good. In fact, that battle is actually what will move us forward to birth something new. So it is that darkness being shown finally that's going to move us forward to bloom into something new. So we have this 2 of Swords, the battle of the duality going on, driving the path forward. Then right above that, we have a major arcana card, the Chariot. And the Chariot is all protected and he's moving forward. So what is protected? Protected means, when we look at this, you know what? As divine feminine beings and as divine masculine beings, we are protected moving forward. And we are actually covered with that divine feminine energy, you guys, to birth something new with this one. So it is that bringing in also of this divine feminine that is going to nurture the men so that they can actually stand in their divine masculine. So that divine feminine is coming in for all of us. It's coming in to give those men the nurture that they've been lacking so that they receive what it is that they need so they can stand in their divine masculine. And so that divine feminine is coming in to nurture us all so that we can birth something new. And so we're all protected moving forward. Like, there is this duality battle going on. But moving forward, we got this shit, basically. So that's our pathway. And then the story around it, again, is we're seeing that divine feminine, okay? So the Queen of Pentacles. That divine feminine is so strong, you guys, that she is actually the energy, that divine feminine energy is that massive rush of energy that's out there. And that massive rush of energy that is out there is actually what's going to, from this divine feminine perspective, is actually what is bringing the nuclear family back together again, putting the men in their divine masculine and helping the women stand in their divine feminine. So it is the ushering in of the divine feminine energy that is healing us all. The divine masculine and the divine feminine, the men and the women. So that's a really good thing. And then above that Queen of Pentacles, that divine feminine, is many, many divine leaders standing up, speaking out, waking people up with this Six of Rods and helping people to kind of step into their divinity. So that's a 6. So that's birthing something new. That's divine love, right? And this is like a leader, but he's not a leader like, oh, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I'm powerful. No, this is just an ordinary person who has a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experience and inner knowing and has done a lot of emotional work. So his flowers all bloomed and he's just out there speaking to others, just speaking his truth, just telling his truth, or telling her truth, just making sense and speaking logic. And through these things, it's waking up groups of people. Not all people, but groups of people are waking up through individuals who have experience, sensibilities, have done the work to be balanced, out there speaking, helping this all move along. So the divine feminine energy is moved in a rush, right? And she is inspiring people who have been working on creating balance within themselves, who've been doing their emotional work, who have a lot of life experience, who are very connected to spirit, who see things differently, who are getting out there with divine love, birthing things by speaking to people about truth, about God, about light, about love, about divine masculine, about divine feminine, about children, about family, about society and agendas and all of these things, and waking up small groups of people a little at a time through people like you and me, just talking to people and waking people up. So that's a big piece of what she's doing. The divine feminine energy is getting people to use their voice stand and help wake up a little group of people here and a little group of people there and a little group of people here. So that's huge. That makes an impact. That makes a difference. And that energy moving in so fast and igniting these souls to do that, waking up these people, is bringing us to this ending of this bullshit that we've been in for however long, because I wouldn't dare say, because time's been manipulated and I don't believe any timeline they give us. But for however long, that's coming to an end, where families, men, women, children, are all coming together in a happy ending. So the energy is definitely shifting, and this power dynamic that we're seeing right now, that duality, that extreme duality, right? When you walk into your public restroom, ladies, and there's a guy in there with a beard and a skirt, putting on lipstick, telling you he's a woman, you're seeing some crazy ass shit, right? And when I turn on my notifications to see what I'm being notified about, and I hear a man speaking out of the dark ages, the ages the ages that actually generated the women's lib, was able to generate women's liberation through those types of actions and ways of being back then. So openly saying that he wants to bring that back in today. It's disheartening, right? I don't like seeing it. It pisses me off. And so I have to take my triggers and my emotions and sit with them, and then, be conscious of why I might be seeing this. And so today I thought, I'm probably seeing this so that I can read on it, because it's an important topic, honestly, for the survival of the human race, and for us to become more authentic selves and step into the divine beings that our Creator created us to be. So it's a big deal, but it's just a duality. It's just more of that shining the light on these things so that it's up to the surface, so that it can be combated. We're going in good places, and it is because that divine feminine energy is swirling around all of us, and we all have that divine masculine and that divine feminine within us. So if those guys are finally getting the nurture and not being taught to be emotionally retarded, and the women are getting some nurture instead of being told that either they have to serve and submit and do, or that they're no good, or that they can do anything better and make sure that you do it better than any guy, and make it a pissing contest, for God's sakes, and a woman's actually receiving nurturing energy that can help enhance her, you can see why this would benefit both the men and the women, to make us triumphant in the end and bring back that nuclear family the way we were meant to be. So that's what I'm getting, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. I hope that you get some value out of it. Thanks for bearing with me. Because I am a woman, and because I am a strong woman, a mighty woman, hear me roar, let me tell you, and very opinionated, but yet also very soft in many ways. When I see that stuff, it's like, no, that's the opposite of where we're going. Talk to me, show me, where do we go from here? What is all of this for? Show me. So thank you for coming on and hanging out with me and being part of that, because it's important to me. I hope you found some value in it too. And thanks for letting me work through things and babble my way through things with all of you. It helps. It helps. It helps me. I don't sit and talk about all this stuff all the time. I'm busy doing. And, you know, when I'm with my family, we're talking about mundane things. Like, we're trying to have a little fun, backing up from the bullshit, right? And trying to have a little fun. And, you know, and also just trying to find time to just be and be still and not be delved into all of this stuff. So when I come on here and I babble, you guys are like my phone call where I call you up and I give you all of my thoughts. And then I feel like you've worked through it with me. I feel like I've bounced things around with you. And then we do the reading, and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I appreciate you bearing with me. So I love you all. Keep your vibes high. And so this will go up tomorrow, which is Thursday, right? Because today is Wednesday the 17th. Tomorrow will be Thursday the 18th. So maybe Friday we will take a look at the jabs. I also have to look into, somebody wants me to look into a law being passed about face recognition, facial recognition and stuff, and they find it a bit scary, and I think it started in the UK, and they're concerned about it anyway. They're concerned, so I have to go back and see exactly what she's asking me to look at, particularly around this law, but I think a lot of times people get afraid of that stuff because they've been black-pilled for so long as an awakened person that these are the evil agendas that somebody has. And one thing I would say is that this is the world we live in. We live in a world of technology, and there are positives to that. And yes, of course, there are negatives to that. But if we want to continue to live in this world with this type of technology, we have got to be able to start buttoning up some hatches and have some better security methods put in place, because scammers can come in and wipe you out in a hot minute. And it really, they've got technology that can just crack almost anything. So we do need some security measures put in place to keep us safe. So it's the world we live in. It's ever changing. And I don't think technology is going anywhere. So we're going to have to, in order to keep the technology that we want and gain new technology that we're looking forward to having, we're going to have to trust a little bit, I think, and try to deprogram some of this black-pilled programming that we all hold within us because of being awakened for so long. So it's conflicting. So we're going to look into that and see what the cards say. And, you know, as per the usual, whatever I get, and people can take from it what they want. But we're going to take a look. I just have to go in and see exactly what she wants me to ask specifically. Apparently, I think she said that this law was going to be passed by January or maybe even December. So I need to get on it. All right, you guys. So until next time, I love you all very much. Hope you found some value in this. Thank you all again for listening to my ramblings and babblings. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, stay high vibing, you know, keep doing your inner work, your healing, your shadow work, your emotional work, your spiritual work. Pull joy, because I think we all could stand to have a little more joy in our life, honestly. The world can be pretty heavy, right? And yeah, keep staying strong and stand in strength and courage and passion and vitality, and know that you're safe and know that we've got this, and keep projecting the world that you want to see and the world that we choose. Okay, you guys, I love you all. Until next time, take care. Bye.